In 2021, Jalen Brunson was barely getting minutes in the playoffs for the Dallas Mavericks. And now 3 seasons later, he single-handedly led the New York Knicks to the second round of the playoffs. Not only was he the main reason for multiple wins, but he absolutely dominated. Jalen Brunson has had 5 consecutive playoff games with 35+ points and 5+ assists. He's one of just 5 players in NBA history to average a 40-point double-double over any 4-game stretch in the playoffs. And he's the first player since Michael Jordan to score 40+ points in 4 straight playoff games. The stuff he's been doing is actually historic. He led the first round in points per game and was less than 1 assist per game away from leading in assists as well. Brunson has been one of the best players in the playoffs so far, and he's doing all of this while missing his best teammate. And if they beat the Pacers in the second round, then they would advance to the conference finals for the first time in 24 years. Brunson literally has a chance to lead this team to heights they haven't been to in decades. If he can keep playing how he is now, then that could very well happen. In the Sixers series, he averaged over 35 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 9 assists a game. And for the last 4 games, he averaged 42 points and 10 assists a game while shooting 49% from the field and 35% from 3. Just absolutely unreal numbers. Then, in the very first game of the Pacers series, in a controversial win, he had yet another 40-point game continuing his streak. It seems like as the games go on, he's only getting better. The ball is in his hands to start basically every possession, and if he's not scoring himself, then he's finding a bucket for an open teammate. He's one of the best difficult shot makers in the league at this point and has one of the most beautiful floaters I've seen. It doesn't matter how many people are in the paint, Brunson always finds a way to get a shot or layup off without getting blocked. He can finish through contact unlike a lot of other smaller guards in the NBA and can even body taller defenders. Brunson is listed as 6'2", but he's also one of the strongest guards in the league, and when he attacks the rim, that becomes very obvious. He can also get himself open in the mid-range, which really separates great scorers in the playoffs. I mean, you're seeing Anthony Edwards going to work in the mid-range all the time when everything else is blocked up. Anytime the Knicks needed a bucket, Brunson was always there to figure something out. Some guys in the NBA fade away in big moments, but Jalen is the complete opposite. If the game's on the line, he wants the ball in his hands. It's exactly what you want from your point guard and team leader. His stat lines alone are just insane, and it feels like the Knicks haven't had a single boring game so far. Last year in the playoffs, he played really well, but this season he's just been on another level. Although, if you go back and look at what he did against the Heat in the second round, then the writing was on the wall. For that entire series, he averaged 31 points, 5.5 rebounds, and over 6 assists a game while shooting similar splits as this season. So you expected him to play well in the playoffs this year, but I don't know if anyone expected him to play this well, especially with Julius Randle out. But even the stuff he did throughout the regular season went really underappreciated. Not only did he play in 77 games, but he also put up the best numbers of his entire career. He averaged almost 29 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 6.7 assists a game. He also shot 48% from the field and shot 40% from 3 on a career-high 6.8 attempts per game. Again, just really good all-around numbers, especially for a guy that literally wasn't even starting a few years ago. He was 4th in points per game and 4th in usage percentage on the entire season, both things that are translating to the playoffs. A lot of what he was able to do did go underappreciated, but at least he made the All-Star team for the first time in his career. Jalen had 36 games with 30 points or more, including 11 games where he had over 40. And this season, he had some of the best performances of his career so far. He had a game against the Spurs where he put up a career-high 61 points and 6 assists. But the craziest part is that they somehow lost. Or wait a minute, actually the craziest part is that Jalen Brunson put up 47 shots in one night. Literally the day after DeJounte Murray put up a wild 44 shots in a game out of nowhere, Jalen somehow managed to top it with 47. He scored almost half the team's points and accounted for almost half the team's shots. Jalen's known to put up a lot of shots, but he took this one to another level. It was really fun to watch all around from both teams, and even Wembanyama ended with 40 points and 20 rebounds. But that 61-point game doesn't even come close to his best performance of the season and probably career. Against the Phoenix Suns, Jalen put up a stat line of 50 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, and 5 steals. Not only that, he also shot 17 for 23 on the night, including 9 for 9 from 3. Yeah, he didn't miss a single 3-point shot the entire night, which is tied for the most threes in a game without a miss, and he only had 2 turnovers. And unlike the last game, this time they actually won. But even though they won by 17, he wasn't putting up these numbers in garbage time. It was actually decently close for a majority of the game, and the Suns were even pulling away in the third quarter. Unfortunately for them, Jalen put up 35 points and shot 12 for 12 in the second half alone, an NBA record for the most points in a half without a single miss. But the most impressive part about this entire performance is the fact that he managed to put up all those numbers in just over 35 total minutes. And he became the first player to put up a stat line of 50 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, and 5 3-pointers made. Just one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen. And to think the Mavericks really let him walk for literally nothing in return. He obviously wasn't the same player he is now during his first few years on the Mavs, but he was definitely getting there year by year. He was 4th in 6th Man of the Year voting in 2021 and then got Most Improved Player votes for the next 3 years after that. When you're considered one of the most improved players in the entire league for 3 years straight, that really does show he's always getting better. What's crazier though is on a podcast after his 3rd season, he told the Mavs he'll sign a 4-year $55 million deal, but the front office said no. Multiple times during his final years there, he showed his true potential, and for that low of a price, I don't know how they were able to say no. Imagine having Jalen Brunson on the 2nd year of his 4-year deal getting paid less than $15 million. But at the end of the day, it was definitely the best thing that could have happened to him. Instead of being a secondary ball handler for the Mavs, he has the ball in his hands all game with the Knicks. He just fits the Knicks franchise perfectly. He represents the New York Knicks to a T. Not to mention, the team around him is the exact same way. Donte DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, Josh Hart, Miles McBride, and now OG Anunoby, all these guys just fit together. And their entire core is under contract for not only next year, but for multiple years after. This team isn't going anywhere. They've become one of my favorite teams to watch because of the way they all play together. They just want to win. And Jalen has one of the best stories in the NBA that deserves a video on its own. He spent 3 years at Villanova where he won 2 national championships. One with Donte DiVincenzo and the other one with Josh Hart, so their team chemistry goes way back. He was also a National College Player of the Year and had one of the greatest college careers of all time. Then once he made it to the NBA, he was an undersized guard where he was drafted with a 2nd-round pick. He came off the bench for multiple years and now has become a superstar with the Knicks. If there's anyone that deserves the success and praise, it's him. So to see him playing like he is right now in the playoffs is just awesome. He's elevated his play from the regular season just like every star player should. But let me know down in the comments what you think about Jalen Brunson and leave a like on the video to help out the channel. Also subscribe if you're new for more basketball videos just like this one.